It's time for sunshine and happy smiles, chocolate rainbows and friendly fish. Come along and join your friends at the Aquaman Action Hour.
Here comes Aquaman and Friends.
That's right, kids. It's the Aquaman and Friends show. Not really. This is a clip that I found that it just stuck in my head years ago. But anyway, this vlog is gonna be Aquaman related because I'm gonna talk about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Funny thing, I watched another movie before that one. I will make a vlog about that other movie later. I'm gonna post it later. But the thing is that after I watched that certain movie, I thought that I had enough time of my. I thought that I had enough time, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna watch Aquaman 2. I know about the reputation. I knew about all the things. But I just said that, you know what, let's get this over with. And and it's funny because I for one hand, I did wanted to see for myself the movie that is considered the final nail on the coffin of the DC cinematic universe before they jump ship off the well, for lack of better word, the Zack Snyder verse DC universe, and now they're gonna jump the gun for the James Gunn universe. So it's almost like the best comparison is like going to see the destruction of a building and see how it goes. So I was kind of like having half and half anticipation of it. But I do agree that one of the other reasons that many people might not see this movie is because of the big rumors that it had, the reshooting, the editing, the focus group not liking it, and of course, let's talk about the elephant in the room. That certain actress named Amber Heard, being a nasty person, and just her presence alone in the movie is enough to put a stench on that movie. Which is kind of sad because I do remember that the first movie I did call out being okay. I thought that it was kind of like the better directions for the DC universe. I didn't watch it again. Mostly of those DC universe movies, it was like once and never again. Rarely I could see it again. I didn't thought that. And the more I think about it, maybe the first Aquaman wasn't as good as many people says, or at least as I remember. Maybe. Also, it doesn't hurt that it had that woman that really put give a bad taste of all these things. Although even though I could understand, it's almost like nowadays that when people see Bill Cosby, even on some good stuff, it will still leave out kind of like nasty sensation that kind of ruins a little bit experience. It has kind of like that karmic feeling. That's the thing I wanted to say. But despite that, I thought that maybe I should have given Aquaman a chance. So I went to see Aquaman 2, or in this case Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The trailers didn't impress me. I knew what the trailer was trying to do, by hiding things under the rug and saying that, okay, here it is. And guess what? I didn't like it. I came out really disliking this movie. The best way I can describe this movie, it was a hot hamburger garbage with some turd on topping. You, you see what I did there. I think I'm not gonna stop doing that, but I've seen. But after I watched the movie, I tried to see some people's reviews, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that despite anything, people are trying to give this movie a pass. But I'm not gonna be that kind. No, that movie was garbage. I didn't like it. Really, really don't like it. And I know that on the DC Cinematic Universe movies, there are worse movies. It wasn't as bad as, well, kind of like the Marvels. I can get that, but still, a bad movie is still a bad movie. This is one of them. You can tell that that the reshoots didn't help with the movie. It has a lot of incoherent pacing, incoherent shots, and they try hard on the humor. It's just baffling that people kind of want to find some kind of humor, and if they find it, good for you. Is it me that I got a little bit desensitized to humor? No, I'm not, because I can see some humorous stuff, but this one kind of had this try hard execution that I cannot give it kind of like a pass. And even the emotional part is so wooden that that it didn't get me. Or maybe my disinterest is because I kind of forgot that the last movie, it shouldn't be that way. And by the way, people, stop praising James Wan. He's an overrated director. There are some moments in which he can do good, but let's not forget some of the other movies that he directed. Give me a second. I'm gonna confirm something on James Wan. Was he the one that he made some? Yeah, he did some horror movies, but actually I wanted to see if you know what? Let me go there. Final Destination. Is he the guy for the Final Destination movies? Give me a second. Let me see the. Oh yeah. He's the guy from the Final Destination. Sorry about that. I just wanted. This time I did wanted to confirm before I do some mistake, because lately I have been doing a lot of mistake. Like, for example, in the Wonka movie, I made a huge mistake on the actor's name, and I think I also did a video that I also made a mistake, and I didn't want it to do that. So sorry for that. But yeah, talking about that, there's also. I don't hate the Final Destination movie. I call them guilty pleasures. I even made myself a marathon, and I found that I had a good time ripping out some of the bad aspect and the good aspect of that franchise. But okay, I'm here to talk about Aquaman, and I'm stretching out the whole thing very long, and I shouldn't do that. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do my best. The story synopsis is that take place a few years, after the first movie. Arthur / Aquaman, who of course is played by Jason Momoa, he's the King of Atlantis. He's married, and he has a son that also has power. He's living it, having his, going with the family, of course, married with Mira, played by the turd, and of course, he has also the responsibility of being King of Atlantis. Even though he was like, you know what, I hate it. It's all of, going through the council and all that stuff. But then his old nemesis, Black Manta, or the real guy's real name was David. Well, technically Black Manta returns. He kind of finds this black trident that gives him, powers. He's basically under control, quote unquote, of this ancient evil that lets him use this rare item called orichalcum. And he's gonna use it to destroy Atlantis, but of course that also means that it's gonna destroy the world, via global warming. No, I'm serious. It became a global warming movie. And then, of course, for some reason, Aquaman decides that in order to stop him, they're gonna need the help from his brother. The antagonist of the first movie, played by Patrick Wilson. And it kind of turned into a buddy cop thing in order to stop this guy. That's the synopsis out of it. And from what I tell you from that synopsis, it tried to cram up too much of a story. I wouldn't have minded if it was kind of like coherent, because during the whole movie, I was actually questioning, why do you need Patrick Wilson? The more I think about the movie, or maybe because I didn't pay attention, it was almost like he was unnecessary. Although they could have find a way to make him important, unlike the third. But what was the point of him being in a character? And they wanted to force out this broader relationship. That come on, you went too forceful into it. If it's not playing Captain Planet, like by making this subplot about global warming, they wanted to play out Care Bears by saying that no matter what he has done, he's still your brother. You still love your brother. Let's not forget that their brother that almost killed themselves. And it's so badly written and so rushed that it's not even like Thor and Loki that at least that one had itself some time to set up some kind of agreement between these two, mostly in particular in Ragnarok. But it was so bad, and I'm hearing a lot of people saying that there is a chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson because they kind of have this buddy cop humor. I disagree. They don't. There is no chemistry. You know what? I'll go fast by some of the actors. And despite everything, I don't fault Jason Momoa as Aquaman, because he was doing his part and he was a decent Aquaman. Actually, he is a better Aquaman than Ezra Miller playing the Flash. Also, there's some moments in which apparently Jason Momoa wanted to play out the kind of like this upbeat king, and there are times, and I think that's also a problem in most of his roles as Aquaman, is that he's kind of is almost like an Aquaman with Tourette syndrome, because most of the time he's kind of looking like kingly, and then out of the sudden he bursts like, "Yeah, I'm Aquaman." Almost like he wants to play out kind of like the funny drunken guy. Even at the end of the movie, he was making kind of like this kingly speech, and then he's like, I'm Aquaman, yeah. He's basic again. It's almost like he's having Tourette syndrome. And there's some other characters that are forgettable. Again, Patrick Wilson, as much as he tries, what was the point of that character? If there was a point, at least explain me, even comment me myself, because I still don't get it. It could happen in a movie without him, or they haven't written it well. There's also Nicole Kidman is there. I don't care. Other character, I don't care. Let's get this over with about Amber Turd. She's terrible, and you can tell that the studio tried so hard to cut her off the movie, but it was like almost like they couldn't. They just couldn't. They couldn't even get a new actress to play the part. No, they couldn't, and they were hesitating to do it because maybe for the benefit of the doubt, making reshooting a movie with a different actor or actress is a cost expensive. And honestly, with that franchise being on the last legs, it was like we can do anything. But still showcase a lot of the hypocrisy on the ideology of Warner Brothers in one way or another. But this is kind of like a big can of worms that I'm not gonna get to. Josh Abdul-Mateen second playing Black Manta. He was basically one of the better actors in this one. I don't remember the first movie, but in a way, I could say that I can get into his revenge plot, but then he's paid as a bad guy, and of course he's the bad guy. Of course that I will disagree with him with doing all this stuff and causing global warming. But then also comes kind of like this last minute villain that he got this black trident that let him see a lot of stuff, and now he just wants to release this army of the undead called the Necron that is part of a lost kingdom raised by this other king. They wanted to make comparisons that they're kind of like they're brotherly, something like that. You know what? I'm rambling on that point. But there is this guy played by Randall Park who plays kind of like the scientist who he just wanted to be a good scientist. He gets into the team of Black Manta, and that also begs a question. Also, that during the movie, Black Manta even has his own army of supporters, and you don't even know where the hell he got them. Where did he find people in which like, hey, we're gonna go destroy Atlantis? Okay. And basically, the Randall Park character just get in because, as a scientist, he was very curious to see Atlantis, and then he wanted to betray Black Manta because he gets a change of heart and he just kind of becomes kind of like the second spy. But there were opportunity for Black Manta to see this guy, and he's like, you know what? How dare you betray me? Boom, you're dead. He never does that. Actually, there's almost no body count in this movie. So how do you believe me that there are some stakes in this one? By the way, I meant body count mostly on the hero side and not on the hero side. Or if you are an NPC, as much of I think PG-13 movie goes through. But still, that Randall Park, he was kind of like basically written or something like that. Okay, let's continue on. Cinematography. There are some moments in which you can notice the bad CGI, and it is kind of like a cost-expensive CGI that one I could kind of give a little bit of a pass. I mean, even Godzilla -1 had some moments of some weird CGI, but funnily enough, that movie has a lower budget and still looks better. This is how kind of like as long as CGI looks decent, it's fine. But this one is so overbloated, and you can see that there was passion. I get it. VFX artists had a tough moment going on with that, and you can tell how bloated this movie goes. It is, and don't get me started by saying that, oh well, the spy choreography is good. I mean, yeah, obviously it's a superhero movie. It's almost like a given, much like animation from Disney and Illumination or other. You'll say, oh well, the animation is beautiful. Well, obviously they're talented people, so what's the point of saying that the animation is good? I mean, there's some rare cases that you could say something to criticize a movie for the something that should have been a gimme. Okay, what else I wanted to criticize? I did wanted to criticize that moment in which this movie tried so hard to have some humor. Like for example, at the movie when the movie starts, so funny. A baby pees on Aquaman, and then that's kind of like the second time he does it again, and then the third time, you're not gonna get me. Oh, and believe me, what happened? Mira uses her water bending powers to redirect her baby's pee on Arthur. Never in my life I will forget that for the first time in our life we saw pee bending. Oh, and that's not all. All you people who are saying that, hey, Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson have chemistry. No, they don't. No, they don't. This brotherly buddy cop thing was so forced that I felt no emotion. There was kind of like barely a moment in which they tried to talk things out. And besides, how can you talk things out when they're brothers that almost kill each other? Okay, maybe not kill each other because, well, Aquaman, code of honor, something like that. And it was forced, and they have kind of like this buddy cop humor that it felt like it is kind of like in another movie. And to make things kind of like more funny, Jason is like, hey, you should not be harsh on humans. There's some good things about the land dwellers. Oh yeah, what is it? Well, they have cheeseburgers or something like that. And then for some reason, because they wanted to make it funny, or maybe because our King of Atlantis wanted to have some small payback. It's like, hey, you should taste this cockroach. And the guy's like, no, seriously. He had a guy eat a cockroach, and he liked it so much that I don't care if I ruin it. It's on the mid-credit scene, and that's how the movie ends. The DC universe ends with a guy stuffing a cockroach on a hamburger and eating it. And funny coincidence that this movie kind of makes a joke about metaphors. And the biggest coincidence is that it ends up with a metaphor. Because this is what this movie is. This movie is a hamburger with a cockroach inside it, with an extra side of Amber Turd. I mean, the hamburger is delicious, but still, would you care if it's filled with a cockroach? People will still eat it. And what else there is that I want to talk about? Like I say, there were some inconsistencies on the pacing that you somehow noticed that there's some weird cuts here and there. The most noticeable that I had is that we got this moment in which Aquaman saves his brother from imprisonment. He wants to do it in secret so he doesn't. So the council doesn't realize what he's doing, because he's doing some unkingly things. And of course, it doesn't help that his brother is arrested for war crimes. So he rescued his brother, and the brother is all thin and with a beard that kind of makes him look like Charles Manson for some reason. And of course, he finally gets in the water because it makes him strong and all that. And then the next moment in which we see them together, somehow both Aquaman and Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson, they're more groomed, almost like instantly. But especially Patrick Wilson, how did he come out with a lot of hair and a lot of beard, and then in an instant he's all shaved and his hair combed? There wasn't even a scene in which it was like, give me a moment, let me groom myself. No, it just cuts to that. And I haven't mentioned that then they also introduced what was it, this octopus that it was just there more kind of like for selling toys, I think. And I think the lobster guy from the last movie, he's just there and he just only appears in the last 40 minutes. They also have kind of like an excuse that they need the kid. I'm not gonna get too much into detail with that. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say of my biggest highlights / disappointments that I have with Aquaman 2. I am on a balance. I don't know which one was better or which one was worse. Is this one or The Flash? Both came out this year. I remember that in my video of The Flash, I was kind of being a little bit generous, but the more I think about it, I think that was kind of like a mistake now that I think about it. Because both of them have their own they kind of like have their own problems. That honestly, I think I found this movie much boring more than The Flash, because at least The Flash, it was kind of like an interesting train wreck. And also, now that I think about it, both of those movies have people who they basically ruined themselves, their career. The Flash has Ezra Miller, and this one has Amber Heard. Both of these people, I don't care what happened to them, especially for the things that they have done in real life, and watching them on screen, it's almost like kind of like a bad taste. But even if you put aside all that, it wasn't good. No, it wasn't good. Do I recommend Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? No. This movie was actually better off being a lost movie. They lost Batwoman. There is a big story behind it. So no, I'm sorry, Aquaman. You're not good with the kids.
Excuse me. Why don't you come down out of that booth and try surviving 100 kids and a crazy sidekick who's trying to kill you, you cowardly piece of...